Breaking news, a gas explosion in Millersville, Lancaster County. News 8 was there. This is video moments after it happened.
It was like a bomb going off, and once it hit the ignition source.
A home destroyed, 100 buildings evacuated. News 8 has live team coverage of the gas explosion. Good evening, everyone. I'm Kim Lemon.
And I'm Ron Martin. The leak started around noon at George and Manor Streets in Millersville. That's the main road into town. The explosion happened around 1:30.
Our live team coverage continues with Lancaster County reporter Meredith Jorgensen. She has the latest on residents and how they're affected and what's next.
But we begin with the explosion. News 8's Brian Roach saw it happen. Brian, what did you see?
Well, Ron, I was standing here in this parking lot. Actually, I was right in front of that white car right there, talking to the Channel 8 newsroom on the phone, looking directly at the building when the explosion occurred. And it wasn't what I would call a massive explosion. It was more of a thud, if you will, as if someone had hit the bottom of the building with a sledgehammer and it fell straight down. But fortunately, no one was in the building. Let's show you some pictures of what we saw seconds after the explosion occurred. You can see the dust falling out of that particular building, and the debris came crashing down on Manor Avenue here in Millersville, and we're being told now that a structural engineer is on the scene and is going to be looking at that building, and most likely it is going to have to come down. Now, we want to get the very latest on the situation that remains to be active at this very hour. Dwayne Hagelgans is with the Blue Rock Fire, and Dwayne, gas, is it still leaking at this point?
The gas leak itself has been stopped, but there's still gas underneath the ground, so they bored holes into the ground, and we're basically using devices to pull the gas out of the ground at this point.
When we arrived here today, you could actually see the fumes coming out from underneath the ground.
Yes, they were coming out of the sewer system. Basically, you could see gas venting out of the street.
And is there a fear still at this point that there may be, the gas may be in the basements?
There are some buildings that we've checked that still have gas in them. We're going through the buildings one by one, and we're checking them with meters.
The spokesman from UGI told me this was a worst-case scenario for them, and I would have to imagine it's a worst-case scenario for you guys as well.
Oh, it absolutely is, because we could have had somebody in the buildings. It could have happened quicker. I mean, we were here for about an hour and 45 minutes before the collapse. Luckily, we had everybody out.
And a Millersville fireman, I understand, owns this building?
Yes, Millersville Station Chief owns the building. His son actually lives in the building.
And there had been firemen in this building just a few minutes before this happened.
Firefighters entered the building about 20 minutes before the collapse and got the gentleman's dog out.
But at this point, do we know exactly where the leak is?
The leak was basically right in the middle of Manor Avenue, right in the middle of the street, and it's been shut off in two locations, one at a valve and the other UGI dug the street up and clamped it.
All right, Dwayne Hagelgans, thank you very much. And now a long night lies ahead for UGI crews. They are on the scene here. You can hear the air rushing behind me. That is from vents that the crews have placed in the ground here to actually suck the gas out of the soil. And they also have vents that are taking the gas still out of the sewer lines here. They're still making sure that the gas has been vented from the basements in the area. Roughly 4-block square area around this explosion and gas leak has been evacuated, and some folks are being housed nearby. But again, a spectacular scene here this afternoon. About an hour after this gas leak occurred, this explosion occurred. And just to clarify for you real quick, the drilling that was going on here today was horizontal drilling. Apparently they were trying to go underneath the intersection here at George and Manor. They were trying to drill sideways. When the leak occurred, they hit an 8-inch gas line, and again, all of that gas dissipated into the sewers and the storm lines underneath the ground and into the soil itself. And obviously some gas got into that building. UGI officials have told me also a short time ago that they are absolutely certain that they had the line marked properly in the intersection, and there, of course, is going to be an investigation as to exactly what caused this. We're also being told that officials from the PUC, the State Public Utility Commission, are on scene right now and investigating this. But again, this is going to be a very active scene here for the rest of the night and probably well into tomorrow. George and Manor, the main intersection here in Millersville Borough. Back to you in the studio.
Yeah, and as you say, far from over tonight. All right, thank you, Brian, for that live report.
Our live coverage continues now with News 8's Lancaster County reporter Meredith Jorgensen. Meredith talked with some of the people who were evacuated. Meredith.
Hi, Ron. Well, the explosion has shut Millersville down. The electricity has been turned off in this area to keep from sparking another blast. Trick-or-treating in the area is canceled for tonight. Hundreds were evacuated before the explosion. We talked to one man who was working just next door who wasn't evacuated, and we asked how he feels.
I'm very scared. I got up and had no idea what was going on and just ran to the back and opened the door and saw glass everywhere.
Derek Price didn't know exactly what happened to the building next door, but he says the odor of gas was obvious.
I smelled it instantly, just blowing right towards me. like crazy.
Emergency crews knew about the gas leak and were evacuating nearby homes and businesses, including the Barn Door restaurant.
They said if they needed to evacuate us, they would let us know. Well, they let us know like literally 2 seconds before we were supposed to be out.
When they gathered outside, they understood why.
Thankful that we got out of there and it wasn't our building, and I'm sorry about their building, but I'm kind of shook up a little bit, just a little scared, but glad that everybody's okay.
Derek, who wasn't evacuated, agrees.
Kind of a little startled right now. Still shaking a little bit here. Just kind of curious about what's going to happen.
Everyone's curious how long this area will be shut down. This is again the main thoroughfare through Millersville, just north of the Millersville University campus. Millersville University did send out a campus-wide alert to all the students and faculty at around 2 o'clock today, plus an email notification, but it's obviously putting a damper on things on campus there. As we mentioned before, trick-or-treating is canceled in this area for this evening. And even though that gas leak has been shut off, it's going to be quite a while before everything's back to normal. That's the latest here live in Millersville. Back to you.
All right, thank you, Meredith. And our gas explosion coverage continues on WGAL.com. And there you can see more pictures taken by our crew just moments after that explosion.